Hello everyone! Our topic is all about environmental health and sports issues and concerns. No issues exclusively belongs to one particular area because one issue has a direct or indirect impact on another kind of issue. Hence, some of these issues discussed in this section may belong to socio-political issues or socio-economic issues, or vice versa. Issues presented and discussed in this section are not ranked accordingly. So number one is issues on segregation of waste. The segregation of waste is one of the biggest problems of waste management agencies and people. But why? So, it is because of our laziness. Kaya pati paghihiwalay ng sarili nating basura, hindi natin magawa. And another is lack of container for waste disposal. May mga ibang tao din na kulang o wala silang paglagyan, kaya may mga basura na nakikita natin sa mga daan o sa mga kanal, sa mga ilog at dyan sa tabi-tabi na nagkakalat. So, basureros do not collect the waste materials if not segregated, and some of these garbage bags contain spoiled food that either ends up and destroyed by stray animals or street children. So, if we are not helping each other to segregate our waste, pwede itong mag-cause ng serious health hazard, katulad lang ng pagbaha, air pollution, water pollution, at iba pa. These issues will remain a problem to the country in the next few years. If we are going to segregate our waste properly, if we are not, di ba? So, tayo din yung kawawa. Our waste will all mix up in the landfills just like how they are mixed up in your bin. This problem may be resolved. Yes, it will be resolved when we segregated our waste. But to segregate our waste, we have to make a different dustbin. So, for different waste, katulad lang ng for kitchen waste, metal waste, paper waste, electronic waste, yung mga ganun. Pero, dapat strict ka sa paggamit ng nasabing iba't ibang paglagyan ng basura para kapag nagkolekta na yung mga basureros, hindi na sila mag-aalanganin na kunin ang basura kasi nga nakasegregate siya. And also, we should learn to practice the RS or the 3 R's in segregating our own waste, which is the reduce, reuse, and recycle. And once your waste is segregated, you can recycle the paper in your home, your kitchen waste, thus turning into organic fertilizer. You can also reuse some of the electronic and metal waste you just threw in the dustbin, thinking it to be waste.
Smoking ban. The warning that smoking is dangerous to your health. It's not very effective in stopping smoker from smoking once it becomes a habit or addiction. Smoking poses more risks than benefits. Radio, television, and billboard advertisement have been banned from advertising the sale of tobaccos and cigarettes. Despite such banning of cigarette smoking, some smokers still smoke anywhere. Due to this, President Rodrigo Duterte has now ordered a strict ban on smoking in public places and called on citizens to help the local authorities apprehend smokers. The executive order signed in 2017 forbids the use of tobacco, including electronic cigarettes, in all public space, even in sidewalk. It also prohibits anyone under 18 from using, selling, or buying cigarettes or tobacco products. The effects of smoking ban are generally acknowledged to reduce rates on smoking. Smoke-free workplaces reduce smoking rates among workers, and restrictions upon smoking in public places reduce general smoking rate. The cause of smoking ban are usually enacted in an attempt to protect people from the effect of secondhand smoke, which include an increased risk of heart disease, cancer, chronic obstruction, pulmonary disease, and other diseases. Smoking is truly very dangerous to our health. It destroys a human health and life either. It is not necessary to give warning only to the users, but it should be stopped from the root, which is the production. Nor it is one of our country business. It should be stopped because it's destroy we human who live in this country. Public smoking ban seems to be tremendously effective in reducing heart attack and theoretically might also help to prevent lung cancer and emphysema diseases that develop much more slowly than heart attack. The cardiac benefits increase with longer ban duration. In short, by having this smoking ban, these diseases, sickness, or illness will be prevented. By stopping smoking also, you'll be protecting the health of your non-smoking friends and family too. Breathing in second-hand smoke increases the risk of lung cancer, heart diseases, and stroke. In children, it doubles the risk of getting chest illnesses, including pneumonia, ear infection, wheezing, and asthma. So I am very agree on what President Rodrigo Duterte has done. It should always be implemented for the betterness as human.
Let's now proceed to number 3, which is the firecracker ban. The use of firecrackers to signify the celebration of an event has been going on since the American period. However, many historians believe that fireworks originally were developed in 2nd century BC in ancient Linyang, China, and believed to ward off evil spirits. Whether in parties or New Year's Eve, all kinds of fireworks are displayed and used. Unlike before, there are now hundreds sorts of firecrackers being manufactured and sold in the markets. Every year, people have died and injured due to firecracker use. For this reason, President Duterte has signed in June 20, 2017, the Executive Order Number 28, banning fireworks in household or place of residence nationwide and shall only confine its use of firecrackers for community works display. According to the executive order, there is a substantial number of firecracker-related injuries, even casualties recorded every year. Some accidents involve bystanders. So, the promulgation of stricter national standards, rules, and regulations are warranted. So, why is firecracker a socio-economic or political issue? And what are the potential risks that this may pose? Illegal explosives associated with the fireworks season are inherently dangerous because of their composition and unpredictability. Homemade explosives can pose a particular risk for injury because the people making them often lack knowledge and experience in manufacturing fireworks. Most law enforcement agencies consider such M80s, M100s, quarter sticks, cherry bombs, silver salutes, etc. to be illegal because they exceed the Consumer Product Safety Commission's or CPSC limits for
addition to being banned in many states. This device meets no safety standards and often have a coating of dangerous explosive dust. Friction, heat, or being bumped can cause these devices to detonate. The question is, did this firecracker ban been effective? From the latest report of the Department of Health, or DOH, there was a total of 50 revelry-related injuries from December 21, 2020 to January 1, 2021, with no cases of firework ingestion and deaths. Of the 50 injuries, 49 were fireworks-related injuries and one was a stray bullet injury. This is 85% lower than the 340 total cases reported last year. Likewise, the number of cases this year is 89% lower than the 5-year average from 2015 to 2019. It was noted that this is the lowest count the nation had ever recorded compared to the previous years. The lower numbers we achieved this year is a welcome development, but we will not stop until we achieve zero fireworks-related injuries and ensure that the next holidays will be safer for every Filipino, Health Secretary Francisco T. Duque said.
So let's proceed to dengue issue. Families of children who were immunized with dengue vaccine and their supporters from Gabriela Partlis group picketed in front of the Department of Health main office in Manila protest the implementation of the 3.5 billion pesos dengue immunization program without sufficient clinical trials. Malacanang also said that it would use the full force of the law on the culprits behind the 3.5 pesos billion dengue vaccine fiasco. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque expressed the view that the government is not taking the issue sitting down and noted that the Food and Drug Administration (FDA) had already suspended the sale, distribution, and marketing of the dengue vaccine.
Dengvaxia is a vaccine indicated for the prevention of dengue disease caused by dengue virus serotypes 1, 2, 3, and 4. Dengvaxia is approved for use in individuals 9 through 16 years of age with laboratory confirmed previous dengue infection and living in endemic areas. Dengvaxia is a chimeric yellow fever tetravalent dengue vaccine developed by Sinopharm Pasteur is widely licensed in dengue endemic countries. In a large cohort study of Dengvaxia was found to partially protect children who had prior dengue virus or DENV infections but sensitized seronegative children to breakthrough DENV disease of enhanced severity. And the use of Dengvaxia is used to help protect against the dengue disease. Dengue disease is a mosquito-borne tropical disease caused by the dengue virus leading to mild flu-like symptoms is in most people. However, a small number of patients develop severe disease with potentially fatal bleeding and organ damage. The side effects of Dengvaxia include injection site reactions such as redness, swelling, itchiness, and pain, fever, headache, lethargy, and muscle ache. These side effects were of mild to moderate severity and short duration, 0 to 3 days.
Let's proceed to cultural values and cultural heritage issues. So culture gives meaning to man's existence. No society does not have culture. Through culture, the existence of the members of the society became more meaningful and with a purpose. Although culture and cultural heritage serves as distinguishing mark of the Filipino people, there has been issues and concerns concerning acceptable cultural values and practices. Among these are the Filipino indolence, the ningas kugon attitude, the mañana habit, bahala na attitude, hiya complex, amor proprio, lagay and arreglo, palakasan scheme, and the suerte and malas form of fatalism.
Filipino indolence. It was Rizal who stated that the Filipinos in general are indolent people. If this statement was true during his time, this is still true and happening now. There are Filipinos who do not care of their future. They prefer to play game of chance like bingo, mahjong, tongits, lucky V, Cruz, and other gambling activities. Let's first tackle the Filipino indolence. Why Rizal said so that Filipino is indolent? What he's trying to point out? To further understand, let's elaborate it. La Indolencia de los Filipinos, more popularly known in its English version, The Indolence of the Filipinos, is an exploratory essay written by the Philippine national hero Dr. Jose Rizal to explain the alleged idleness of his people during the Spanish colonization. The indolence of the Filipinos is a study of the causes why the people did not, as he said, work hard during the Spanish regime. Rizal pointed out that before the coming of Spaniards, the Filipino were industrious and hardworking. So it means that the indolence of Filipino is begun when Spaniards colonized and reigned in the Philippines. It's just a short overview of past events. Let's move on in these present times, where the given examples are those who do not care of their future and prefer to play gambling activities. When we relate on our new normal learning, admit or not, we students are indolent sometimes on doing our activities, especially when we have no mood to start it. And we sometimes choose to sleep first, bond with friends, and enjoy the day without even doing the activities. Tipong enjoy now, stress later. But we don't have to be shocked on being indolent because it's just all started first in the past.
Okay, so number two is many children and adolescents could be found in the internet cafes in corner places hanging around most of the time instead of doing household chores or helping the family members doing household duties. Like standby.
Many children and adolescents. Child development or child and adolescent development refer to the process of growth and maturation of the human individual from conception to adulthood. The term of adolescence has particular cultural and social contexts. Adolescence is the period of transition between childhood and adulthood. It includes some big changes to their body and to the way a young person relates to the world. There are five leading characteristics of adolescence. They are biological growth and development, an undefined status, increased decision making, increased pressures, and lastly is the search for self.
Okay, so the word is standby. So let me first define standby. The word standby as it has evolved in Filipino is generally assumed to mean to do nothing or to refer to someone who is not doing anything. So the police are arresting today, but this strategy by the government to prevent criminal activities are being legally questioned. Maraming mga tao na nag-aas or nagko-question kung bakit ang standby ay isa sa criminal activities. So, this may be the reason why many of us are confused with the misconstrued anti-tambay campaign. So, it is Duterte's spontaneous directive before a group of enforcers in Malacanang last June 13, 2018 that created both criminal tambays and tambay criminals. No one really knows what exactly the president means when he linked crimes with tambays and when he connected the act of waiting pag mag-istambay with committing crimes. Oh, with his usual authoritative mode, he threatened the standbys to go home. If not, he will take care of them by tying up their hands and throwing them somewhere in Pasig. He said that ang mga kriminal dapat dyan, ang mga durugista dapat dyan. They are not supposed to be there. My directive is pag mag-istambay, istambay. Umuwi kayo. Pag hindi kayo umuwi, ipapahatid ko kayo sa opisina nun sa Pasig. Ako nang bahala. Ilagay mo lang yan. Talian ng kamay, pati ihulog ko dyan. At first glance, this directive may sound like good for preventing crimes and promoting public order. But this word istambay are being legally questioned. So, President Rodrigo Duterte has denied ordering the arrest of istambay. And the police have announced that they will no longer use the word istambay or tambay in the regime campaign against petty criminality, but expect istambay to nevertheless continue to be its victim. Next is the Ningas Kugon attitude. So, this is an unacceptable cultural value that most Filipinos do even today. At the beginning, Filipinos are very eager and ready to do and finish a work. But after some time, they become complacent and lazy at the end. In Tagalog, masipag sa simula pero tamad na sa huli. It is like a kugon grass that easily kindle and burn, and nothing is left but ashes at the end. So, another example is our savings and budgets. So, we are eager to start sorting out our money by having a budget at the start of the day, only to not live up with it. So, it is like living thing incomplete. So, we should overcome this Ningas Kugon attitude by avoid starting a goal or project if you know in yourself that you cannot finish it.
The manana habit attitude. This is the tomorrow attitude or procrastination attitude, or in the Filipino expression, mamayana. This habit of Filipinos is a negative attitude wherein people tends to say mamaya na in the things they see difficult to be done, or things that may affect the time they took in the other things they prioritize first. For example, me, my mother asked me to wash the dishes, but since I'm busy doing my assignment and I still need more time to finish it, I told my mother, mamaya na po, may ginagawa pa ako. What I have done was really bad. Since rules are rules, they're needed to be followed, and leaving chores behind may make them neglected until left tasks are done. Another example, a student was given tasks to be done, but then he became lazy, so he procrastinated until the day before the deadline. With this situation, the boy tended to rush things that makes his or her work inefficient and ineffective. As we can see, that if we always make an excuse or any way to delay to finish a job as soon as possible, we might be in a hurry when the deadline is near. As a result of this, we tend to panic, worry too much, overcrowded, and not able to concentrate. So we might get more mistakes than a good outcome. This habit has made us become lazier and less efficient in doing tasks. It's also one of the reasons why we became less productive and why we give our outputs late, which prevents us from growing as human beings. Since it made us lazier, it caused us to achieve less instead of achieving higher goals, and it caused us to miss a lot of opportunities. This banana habit really has a lot of negative effects, especially to us students. Banana habits have also some positive effects on us. Since we tend to finish tasks on a later date, we are able to set our priorities on which tasks are more important. Also, because of this, we also are able to get rest from many things that we do every day. If we consider all these things, banana habit does not only have negative effects but also positive effects. Since this habit is common among to us Filipino and it brings more negative effects than positive effects, we should avoid living with this habit. Thank you.
As stated in the Kabijibin Bahala attitude, is a fatalism of the person where she or he instructed everything to his own fate. I stand not to adhere this kind of attitude because the negative side is greater than the positive one. The only positive thing is saying bahala na is that you have a huge trust in the door in the other hands. You have a huge trust in your capability. As a human race on a negative side, nowadays, as in that also a lot of Filipino, either than worker or student, practice is bahala na attitude. As concluded, many are not happy of this result of their action. For example, bahal na kung hindi ako makakapas this kind of thinking will mind not just your future but also the happiness of your family. There is a fact, you know to yourself that you can do better. We should not entertain or we should not live with this attitude. Always remember to be prepared in every single day of our life. We should do our best no matter if it's for work, family, and study because we cannot bring back time 100% rest. Assured we will need this success of us being prepared as responsible citizens. And that's all.
Okay, so bahala na attitude. These terms come from batala na, which means that God will take care of everything. So some students, for instance, do not bring their books, notes, or handouts to class or read their books or work on their assignments. So they're careless on their studies, but they care more on texting and social networking. Kaya may mga ilang estudyante na walang pakialam sa pag-aaral nila. But that is their attitude when they say or when they have no idea what will happen next. And then, next is number 6 is HIA complex. This is an uncomfortable feeling of being found in an unacceptable position or uncomfortable feeling of doing something not socially acceptable, or often translated as shame or embarrassment. Example is, I will just relate it to my experience back when I was in senior high. So, on that day, when I was in hurry, I did not notice that the floor was slippery. Nilampaso kasi nila pati yung daanan, kaya accidentally na nadulas ako. I was about to stand and fix myself, but I was so ashamed because everyone is looking at me, and I just decided not to move and wait until they all gone. But I was mistaken. They began to laugh while clapping their hands. I am so embarrassed that time, but I am thankful to my friend because he carried me and left. They passed, but I still avoided them because I was ashamed of them. But hindi sa lahat ng oras maiiwasan ko sila. Kaya ang ginawa ko, I just take a deep breath and then face them like nothing happened. When hiya is given too much importance, it's become a threat to progress. A feeling of confidence and personal worth can reduce the hiya complex. So we should have a confidence and a personal worth.
Number 7 is the cultural heritage issues. When we say cultural heritage, it is the legacy of tangible and intangible heritage assets of a group or society that is inherited from past generations. It includes the customs, beliefs, rites, rituals, or ceremonies, indigenous knowledge, social customs, traditions, arts and crafts, music, political and ideological beliefs that influence culture and behavior, history, practices concerning the natural environment, religious and scientific traditions. Ibig sabihin, ito yung mga pinamana sa atin ng past generations o ng ating mga ninuno. Mapasinig man ito, musika, sayaw, at mga lupa, at mga establishmento. Ito ang mga bagay na ipinamana sa atin ng ating mga ninuno. But today, the public and also our government seems that they are apathy and their lack of concerns about these things. The deteriorating state of the various places around the country, showcasing how we Filipinos live at given time, their customs, arts, and conveniences, like the Banawe rice terraces, the Spanish houses in Vigan and Intramuros, various museums, and other historical places and establishments. Equally becoming irrelevant and almost forgotten to the present generations, especially the Gen Zs or the youths, are the other important repositories of our culture, folk songs or dances, and folk devices. Folk songs such as the Kundiman, the Harana, or the way how a boy carved in the past. It is also forgotten by the present generations. The folk dances, such as the Nigli and others, which could be the finest forms and most popular ways of depicting Filipino culture, are slowly extinguished. It was explained that we youths or the present generations has already forgotten the cultural heritage that we got from the past generations, especially the cultural musics and dances. The cultural establishments and historical places are somehow is not forgotten by today's generations. In fact, these places are made by the government as a tourism sites. But if we talk about cultural arts and crafts, music, and dances, the present generations has already forgotten it. Pero, meron din namang mga kabataan, mangiran-iran nga lang, ang tumatangkilik sa mga ito, pero karamihan kasi wala nang alam patungkol sa mga ganitong bagay. How our government made a laws so that these things are not be forgotten. They made a Republic Act number 10066 of 2009 that aims to protect, preserve, conserve, and promote a nation's cultural heritage, its properties and histories, and ethnicity of local communities. It means that by this law, it will preserve our national cultural heritage, and it will also promote it. It also aims to establish and strengthen cultural institutions and protect cultural workers and ensure their professional development and well-being.